Hello students, today we are going to start the next part of chapter Basic Concepts of Macroeconomics. In my previous video for same chapter, I explained you about the domestic territory concept. Then we also discussed normal resident concept and we discussed about the factor income and transfer income. I also let you know that factor income is always included while calculating the national income. Today, proceeding with the same, that is understanding of the basic concepts, we are going to start with the concept of final goods and intermediate goods. Final goods are those goods which are either consumed or they are used for investment. So in this definition, we are including two important terms. That is, final goods means the goods used either for consumption purpose or for the investment purpose. Consumption here means it is done from by the side of household sector. That is, we can say the milk is consumed, it is a final good. It is utilized by the household sector. Investment means it is for the firm sector. Investment here means capital formation also. Suppose something is purchased for investment reason, that is capital formation reason. For example, machinery purchased by a company. So it is a final good for the company. But if the same machinery will be purchased by the household, it will be considered as a final good again. So this is the concept of final good. Next, it includes goods purchased by household for final consumption and goods purchased by firms for capital formation or for investment. So these two important terms are to be included in the concept of final goods. Now we have to keep this in mind that the goods are not final goods if they are purchased for the purpose of resale or they are purchased for further transformation in production process. It means that if there is a dealer of machineries, say we can say washing machines, the dealer of washing machines is purchasing the washing machines for further resale. So it will be an intermediate product for him. It will be not included in the concept of final good. Same way, if the good is purchased for further transformation in production process, here we can take an example of, say if milk is purchased by household, it will be a final product. But if it will be purchased by a sweet shop which will further use the milk for further production process, that is for production of sweets, then it will not be considered as a final good because this is the definition of intermediate good. So what is the intermediate good? Intermediate good means the goods which are used for resale, that is, as I have given you the example of dealer of washing machines. For that dealer, as the washing machines are purchased for further resale, it will be an intermediate good for him. Or for further production in the same year. Here in the same year is important. Why it is important, we will discuss that also. Now further, there are some more important points which we need to discuss about the intermediate goods. First of all, intermediate goods are purchased by one production unit from another production unit. That is, it is under the production boundary. Second thing, the demand of intermediate goods is a derived demand. It is derived demand because its demand is created because of the demand of final goods. Let us take the same example, the sweet shop. The sweet shop, for production of the sweets in the sweet shop, the goods, that is milk, is demanded because there is demand of the sweets, that is the final good. So it is said that it has derived demand. Here milk is the intermediate good which is demanded by the sweet shop because the ultimate demand, that is the demand of final good, the sweet, is there. So demand of milk is derived demand here. Next, all the durable goods purchased by government for military purposes are always under the category of intermediate goods. It means that if for fulfilling the military purposes, that is aircraft, purchasing of aircrafts, purchasing of vehicles, purchasing of trucks, all these are the machineries, big machineries, but they are not included as the final goods because the ultimate reason of purchasing these goods are to provide the service to the country. What military people are doing, they are providing the services to the country. So it is considered all such kind of goods, that is the durable goods like trucks, vehicles, even aircrafts are always included under the criteria of intermediate goods. Last point is its value, that is the value of intermediate good is merged with the value of final good. Let us take an example. If milk is purchased for 40 rupees per litre, now the value of the milk, that is 40 rupees, is included in the value of the ultimate good, that is the final good, which is further sold in the market. So the value of milk, that is 40 rupees, is merged with the value of final good. So intermediate goods value is always merged with the value of final good. So the concept of understanding all this is the national income includes the value of only final goods and not the intermediate goods. The concept of intermediate goods and final goods can be better understood by understanding the concept of production boundary. Production boundary is actually the line around the productive sector. Here I have made the red line which can be understood as the production boundary. That is, these are the productive sectors and the line is drawn outside it. So, as long as the goods will remain inside the production boundary, they will be considered as intermediate goods. And when they comes out of this boundary, they will become the final goods. Now see, I have given you an example here. Farmer A produced wheat and sold the same wheat to B for rupees 500. B has purchased this wheat for rupees 500. It has further transformed this wheat into flour and sold it to C for rupees 750. Now when this 750 costing wheat, that is flour, now when this flour is purchased by firm C, C produced bread using this flour and the bread is sold to consumers for say rupees 1000. So this 1000 includes the cost of this wheat as well as the cost of transformation of it into flour, and then this is further sold to the ultimate consumers, that is we can say the household sector, and the final good which is now further coming out of the production boundary is the bread. So this bread is the final good. Wheat and flour are intermediate goods. Now there are few more things which are to be understood for the concept, for understanding the concept of this intermediate good and final good. What should be the basis of classification? Whether a good is an intermediate good or final good, how it will be clarified. So this classification is its usage, how the good is used. If the good is used directly, say we are consuming the flour directly at home for preparation of chapatis, then this flour will come out of the production boundary here only and it will be considered as a final good. But if it will be further transformed for converting it into bread, then it will be a intermediate good. Goods which are used up in same year during production process are intermediate goods. Actually, intermediate goods are used up in same year. If they remain for more than 1 year, they are treated as final goods. Let us take an example of this. Suppose A Limited purchased cotton for rupees 10,000 in 2019 for production of cloth. If 7,000 rupees cotton was utilized for production of the cloth in the same year and 3,000 was kept as the closing stock. So 7,000 which is utilized is the intermediate good and 3,000 which is the leftover which has been remained will be the stock and will be treated as the final good and will be included while measuring the national income. Next, final goods which we are discussing are of two types, consumption goods and capital goods. So, final goods we are categorizing in two heads, consumption goods and capital goods. Let us understand this concept also. Consumption goods can be further of four types. First is the durable goods. Durable goods can be used again and again. Like we are purchasing machineries. Machineries can be not be utilized for 1 year only. They may have long time durations, long time lifespans. So final goods are categorized under two heads, consumption goods and capital goods. We can say these are two types of final goods. Now consumption goods are of further four kinds. First is the durable goods. Durable goods are those goods which can be used again and again. Now here I would like to mention that consumption goods are utilized generally by the households. So when households are utilizing such goods, these are categorized in four heads. Now durable goods are the goods which we are utilizing as machineries. Suppose the air conditioners, they are having a long lifetime span than 1 year. The refrigerators, same way the machineries or the goods which are consumed by the household, purchased by the household sector, but their lifespan is more than 1 year and they are utilized again and again, are categorized under the head durable goods. Second is the semi-durable goods. We consider that the lifetime of such goods are around 1 year or we can say less than 1 year. Such goods can be clothes, shoes, crockery items. Non-durable goods are the goods which can be used only once, like milk, flour, chapatis we eat, dal we eat, food grains we consume. They can be utilized for only once. These are categorized under the head non-durable goods. Next is the services. Services are actually the non-material goods, that is the intangible goods that are directly satisfying the human wants. Say the services provided by the doctors, services provided by the teachers, services provided by the banks. So these are the non-material goods, but the benefit of it is utilized for which payment is also made. Next category is capital goods. Capital goods are the goods which are generally consumed by the firms. So firms use such capital goods which are utilized further for the production process. So the characteristics of such capital goods are, first, they are used in future for productive purposes, like for further process of production. These capital goods are utilized, say machineries. They have expected lifetime of many years, several years, not only 1 year. They do not lose their identity during the production process. It means that they cannot get merged while continuing with the production process. They will never lose their identity, but they depreciate. So they need repairs and replacements. Then they have derived demand, that is they are demanded because there is demand of final goods and they are helping in the production process. So it is said that they have derived demand.